Imagine saving for 12 years just to afford a deposit on your first home. Not a mansion, not a penthouse, just a basic house. That's the reality for millions of young Australians today. The Great Australian Dream? It's become what housing researcher Cameron Murray called a ludicrous fantasy unavailable to everyone except the very richest. But here's what's truly shocking. I'll reveal the single biggest factor destroying housing affordability that most people don't even know about. Let's start with some jaw-dropping numbers. In Sydney specifically, the average house now costs 14.4 times the average annual wage, according to ANZ CoreLogic data from June 2024. Back in 2002, that same Sydney ratio was 8.3 times. Nationally, Australian Bureau of Statistics data shows first-time buyers needed about 6 years to save a 20% deposit in 1989. Today, it takes more than 12 years, literally doubled. If you're earning a median income right now, only 13% of homes sold across the entire country are actually affordable for you, according to the Center for Independent Studies. So how did we get here? Grattan Institute research reveals that from the 1970s to mid-1990s, house prices grew at 2% per year. Then something fundamental changed. Since the mid-1990s, prices have increased at 5% per year, double the rate. UNSW research shows Sydney's fringe land costs were 10% of median house prices in the 1950s, but skyrocketed to 60% by the 1970s. The national price-to-income ratio doubled from 1989 to 2023, reaching 7.9 times. What caused this dramatic shift? Three powerful forces created a perfect storm. Banking deregulation in the 1980s, plus historically low Reserve Bank interest rates, meant households could suddenly borrow massive amounts. Reserve Bank research shows this increased borrowing capacity gets priced into housing costs. When everyone can borrow more, sellers charge more. Here's negative gearing simplified. Buy an investment property that loses money every year, then offset those losses against your other income, reducing your tax. Plus, pay tax on only half the capital gain when you sell. The Australia Institute calculates this costs $20 billion per year, more than twice what all governments spend on public housing. Australian Council of Social Service research shows over 90% of this investor borrowing targets existing properties, not new construction. It's inflating prices without creating homes. Australia's net overseas migration made up almost 60% of population growth since 2007, according to Housing Australia data. Recent levels of 446,000 to 536,000 annually are double the historical norm. Journal of Housing Economics research shows a 1% population increase from immigration leads to 0.9% higher housing prices. We're creating an estimated 60,000 home shortfall annually. Reserve Bank research shows zoning restrictions contribute 40% to Sydney house prices. That's $355,000 added to the average apartment just from planning rules. Melbourne adds $120,000. But University of Sydney research by Murray and Phibbs shows planning approvals far exceed actual construction, suggesting deeper problems. Here's that shocking factor. Productivity Commission research reveals construction productivity, houses built per hour worked, has declined 53% over 30 years. Labor productivity fell 12%, while the broader economy saw 49% productivity growth. Since 1994 to 95, construction got worse. The Australian Industry Group estimates an 83,000 skilled worker shortfall to meet housing targets. As private housing became unaffordable, social housing went backwards. Australian Institute of Health and Welfare data shows social housing fell from 4.8% of households in 2011 to 4.1% in 2024. The Australia Institute reports government builds were 16% of construction from 1945 to 1970, but just 3% from the mid-1990s onwards. Anglicare's 2025 rental affordability snapshot found 0 rentals affordable for someone on youth allowance, and only 28 rentals, 0.1%, for disability support pension recipients. Committee for Economic Development research shows the housing wealth gap between young, income-poor, and older, income-rich Australians increased from 532% in 1997 to 1998 to 1,230% by 2017 to 18. Your mortgage research indicates 40% of first-home buyers since 2020 received family assistance. No property-owning parents? You're locked out. Australian Institute of Health and Welfare data shows home ownership among 25 to 29-year-olds fell from 43.2% to 36.1%. Grattan Institute analysis shows reducing capital gains tax discount from 50% to 25%, and restricting negative gearing to new construction would reduce prices by 2% while raising $19 billion for housing supply. The challenge: Australian Bureau of Statistics shows 2/3 of households own homes and oppose changes affecting property values. New South Wales's low and mid-rise housing policy mandating higher density near transport shows promise. The National Housing Accord provides state incentives for exceeding supply targets. Built off-site research shows modular construction can cut build times 20 to 50%. Queensland's Modern Methods program targets 600 modular homes by 2025. Vienna houses 62% of residents in affordable city-managed housing. Singapore houses 80% in public housing. These show what's possible with government leadership. The government implemented a 2-year foreign investment ban on established properties, 2025 to 2027, though research suggests foreign buyers represent only 2,000 annual purchases in a 500,000 property market. Based on research from Grattan Institute, Productivity Commission, and Australia Institute, high impact, high feasibility, increasing social housing investment, streamlining planning approvals, construction industry modernization, high impact, medium feasibility, tax reform on negative gearing and capital gains, infrastructure investment for densification, medium impact, high feasibility, targeted foreign investment regulation, first home buyer assistance with supply components. This isn't just about housing, it's about what kind of country Australia becomes. Housing policy will shape economic competitiveness, social cohesion, and democratic legitimacy for decades. University of Sydney research shows housing inequality is becoming a defining political divide, with younger generations viewing it as zero-sum generational competition. The 2025 federal election centers on housing, but Grattan Institute analysis suggests many proposed policies may have limited impact. The crisis affects everyone. Young people can't buy, older people's children can't move out, renters face brutal competition. This needs evidence-based solutions from credible sources like the ABS, Reserve Bank, and leading research institutions, not just politics. What should be Australia's top priority? Tax reform? More social housing? Construction innovation? Let me know in the comments and share this video to spread awareness about what's really driving the crisis and what actually works.